Nearing almost 3 months, Cold War finally got a new zombies map. Holy shit. I know, can you believe they finally got around to adding new content? It's almost like this map has been finished since launch and they just now decided to add it to the game. Regardless of how long the content has been finished for, it's finally arrived and it's here to stay. Unlike my father as he left when I was 2. Diving into this map, I actually had somewhat high expectations. It's a completely new original map. The marketing for the DLC was actually really interesting and had lots of discussion around the release and story, and it brought back a fan favorite perk. What was there not to be excited for? It was also really exciting to see the thick boy Mangler make his grand return for the first time since Grvxvity, making him appear in just as many maps as a Panzer. This map improves upon a lot of the issues I personally had with Die Machine. Though I wouldn't say it is necessarily a better map, I can say it's one of Treyarch's best. So where do I start? How about with the good? One of the first things you'll notice when hopping into this map is that the starting area is completely different from the rest of the map, which leads the character to have to jump through a portal to explore the actual Firebase. In the spawn you have Pack-a-Punch, an armor station, Quick Revive, and the Wonder Fizz, and a few doors that are gated off. All of these will be activated once the power is turned on, with the exception of Quick Revive, which is a nice callback to the classic zombies since Quick Revive used to be in the spawn room. This separate spawn room idea resembles that of Area 51 when playing the map Moon, which in my opinion is pretty awesome since it is utilizing all aspects of the playable area. Once you open up a few doors and teleport, you are welcomed into the main hub area of the Firebase. It's a large area that has branching paths on sides that the player can open and explore. And let me tell you, this map is fucking huge. But just because the map is very wide open, don't get too comfortable, as no matter where you are on the field, the amount of zombies will always make you feel like the walls are closing in. The Wonder Weapon, man is it badass. The Reike is one of the very few fully automatic Wonder Weapons, and man does it pack a punch. This bad boy could be earned through the box, the challenge podium, the Easter egg similar to the coffin dance on Die Machine, and during a buildable quest. There is also no tedious upgrade quest. You just kind of get the weapon and throw it in the Pack-a-Punch and you're good to go. It also has an alternate firepower that will damage zombies and slow them down. But once that alternate firepower is shot with the regular automatic ammo, the shot will explode, causing all zombies around it to disintegrate, which is pretty fucking cool. The new enemy types are actually really interesting for this map. The Mangler makes a return, and if you've played Black Ops 3 Zombies, then this guy needs no introduction. If you've not played Black Ops 3 Zombies, then why? The Mimic is a really cool idea, as it spawns in as a piece of salvage or a killstreak drop, but when you go to pick it up, the Mimic will transfer into his regular form and attack the player. Really cool concept in my opinion. Another great thing about this map is a better variety of wall buys. This is a great addition, and I am so glad that the option to pick and choose my weapons rather than spinning the box was expanded upon. Now, without going too much in depth about the Easter egg, I wanted to touch on it a small bit. The Easter egg is short and sweet, which can be a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it, but the addition of NPCs, fuck. If you saw my awful video about zombies needing to be more like an RPG, then you know I just about came in my pants when I saw not one, but 2 NPCs on this map. This adds so much more immersion and character to the map that it just wouldn't have achieved without them. The Easter egg also has an ending cutscene, which, holy fuck was it awesome. Seeing Samantha walk out of the dark ether wearing Monty's scarf, Nikolai's goggles, and wielding Takio's sword, holy shit, it was like a fanfiction come true. One of the last things I wanted to touch on was the atmosphere, and man does it not disappoint. Upon spawning in the game, the player's in a destroyed village, with the sun's heat beating down all over the area. The homes are all abandoned, but man is it cool to see this kind of location in a zombies map. The orange hue covering the sky gives off the complete opposite tone that Die Machine's light blue sky had. The actual Omega base, where most of the map takes place, is great. The base was not abandoned, rather it was overrun. We see burning buildings and defense walls set up to defend against the hordes of the undead. We see technology on just as the person who was here last left it. There's a medical tent and barracks that show that soldiers were currently staying there and even had their stuff out as they left as they were overrun. This is exactly what I think zombies needs more of. More lively environments and less abandoned locations. A small addition added, but one that drastically improves the quality of life in this map, is the addition of multiple armor stands. There's about 4 or so armor stands around the map, so the player will never have to travel too far without having quick access to armor and weapon upgrades. This improved my biggest complaint about Die Machine. Another quick small addition is the jump pads, which actually work just like the Wonder Spheres from Der Eisendrache. I absolutely love these things, and they make traversing the main map super quick and efficient. The last good thing I wanted to discuss was the return of Tombstone. Tombstone was a perk that only saw the light of day in Transit. The idea was good, but execution was ass in Black Ops 2, and I'm glad to say that it's changed entirely in Cold War. What made the perk so bad in Transit was that when you died and came back, the Tombstone was on a timer, and the map was massive and horrible to travel, meaning depending where you died, you wouldn't even be able to run back in time to collect your tombstone and get your stuff back. In Cold War, the perk is still on a timer, but with the upgrading perk system thanks to Ethereum crystals, it is almost like Tombstone and Who's Who had a thick-ass child, and this is the final product. The player can come back and have a chance to revive themselves to get their shit back and not lose any perks, or the player can die, but on the next round when they spawn back in, they can collect their tombstone and retrieve all their goods, including their salvage. Thank God. With that being said, and all the good things I have to say about this map concluded, let's chat about the bad, shall we? The bad starts off with visual glitches. It's hard to count this in as one of the bad things. I believe this is an Xbox Series X exclusive bug, but that is where I prefer to play my games, so it was enough of an issue for me to put in the bad segment, but I'm hoping by the time this video is out, all the issues will have been patched, but I doubt it. Unfortunately, what this bug is that the lighting effects like fire and smoke and other textures and stuff is actually tied to your FOV slider. And as we know, this is the first Call of Duty game on console with an FOV, so the issue there is I personally play on 120. But in order for me to have the textures where it's supposed to be lined up with and they're not all floaty and changing the location, I actually have to play on 84 FOV. And because I'm so used to playing on 120, this completely throws off how I play the game. And in all honesty, it kind of makes me want to puke. As much as I love the variety of enemy types, man, are the spawn rates incredibly high.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Gotcha, bitch.
Hello.
What's up, fuckers? I'm fast as fuck, boy.
You serious?
This desperately needs to be toned down because you can have 2 or 3 mimics after you, all while being chased by a horde of zombies and having 3 manglers shooting at you from afar. A good way to balance this would be to slow down the enemy spawn rate and even limit the amount per round. Also increase their health or maybe even their movement speed. That way they can maintain the threat status that they currently have to the player. A new introduction to the map is assault rounds. Every few rounds there is an objective round, and it could change what the purpose and objective goal is. Maybe this time you are defending an area with napalm strikes, while the next time it's a boss fight. Thankfully, the locations of each assault changes, but these rounds disrupt the flow of gameplay entirely. I think if these assault rounds were player activated, the gameplay would be a lot more smooth. But without scrapping the idea entirely, there should be large rewards for completing assault rounds so that the player still has incentives to complete them. Maybe drop a backpack which allows the player to carry an extra self-revive or score streak even. Award the player with 10k points. Drop free perks or orange tier weapons. Those would keep the player interested in taking on the challenge without forcing them to. The last issue I have with this map has to be the power. I hate tedious steps that are required to do anything in zombies maps. In Origins, it was the generators. In Mob of the Dead, it was refilling the plane. In Die Machine, it was the Pack-a-Punch, and on this map, it's the power. Having to complete not 1, not 2, but 3 soul boxes all around the Firebase just to turn on the power, holy shit, it's so fucking unnecessary. This is literally just a way to have the player explore the whole map, and honestly, I'm not a fan of it at all. If you want the player to explore the whole map, that have something of interest in each of the locations. Requiring 3 soul boxes to be filled every game as my first priority is a huge turnoff, and I expect this one decision to be a complete turnoff to any newcomer of the zombies map. Thankfully, I didn't have too much to complain about. I try to keep this review balanced, but this map is actually really enjoyable and probably one of the best maps Treyarch has put out since the glory days of Black Ops 3. I wanted this video to be a lot more serious than my regular discussion videos simply because I think that review should be more informational rather than something I would crack too many jokes about. I plan on sticking to more serious reviews for future zombie maps as they release, and I'm really excited to get back to the swing of things and why I started this channel initially, which was actually for reviews. Thank all of you guys so much for listening, and Please leave any feedback or questions in the comments below, and I'm so excited to see if anyone has anything to say. This is my first actual serious review, so any feedback really does help, and I can't appreciate it enough. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next one, and until then, piss off.